Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here, and the Diablo 4 2.0 PTR is finished. And the wonderful guys over at Wowhead did put together a great article here with the undocumented changes coming in patch 2.0. I figured to just read through some of these because I was a little surprised by a few of them, even though I did play the PTR and got to experience it myself. So first off, the character creation screen has changed kind of massively. This is, I think, going to cause a lot of community discussion, I guess you could say, or just rage perhaps. But basically, instead of there being a campfire, it is a screen that looks like this. I've actually used some of these in my thumbnails lately, and you can click on the different circles and it'll take you between the different classes. It's animated here in the center, so like these like werewolf, werebear kind of come out of nowhere and they're all glowy and stuff. There's a little video pane that shows some of your skills and gives you a general breakdown of your play style. And yes, there is kind of a campfire here at the bottom, so you still are at the campfire, but it's more like focused in on your character. And personally, I like the appearance of the new character creation screen. I think it's pretty cool. Gives you a little bit more information, gives you the ability to kind of see what's going on. I would love for there to be some sort of way for you to like go and test drive a class, where it would throw you into a zone where you're just like able to test out a couple of different specs just to kind of see, hey, is this a class that I want to play? Because a lot of people, if they're coming into D4, it's maybe their first ARPG, they kind of want to get a vibe for how the class plays, and they don't want to have to play a whole bunch to test that out, and which I think would be pretty cool. Lost Ark has a feature that's just like this, and it's kind of fun to do. Now, besides that, other new things in character creation include a whole bunch of new hairstyles, and I'm all for more customization. I do think it's a little bit of a crime how few facial, options we have basically for making characters, and the hairstyles always been kind of a little bit limited, so adding in more of these is pretty cool. I don't like that a lot of the hair though will clip through basically every cosmetic, which feels pretty bad, and that's just something that I think that they should work on. Next up, the wardrobe is now accessible from anywhere because it's literally right on your character screen. So if you open up your character screen, there is a button right above the stats and materials that allows you just to pop right into the wardrobe. So if you want to change your appearance or equip a pet, you'll be able to do that pretty much from anywhere at all in the game, which I think is really, really cool. There are also 4 new pigments: Canopy, Royal Mariner, Cinder, and Sunrise, and they're all added to the wardrobe as well. And you can see some of the examples here. The Royal Mariner, and I believe this is Cinder right here. And I do think that more dye options are pretty great. I do wish that there was some way for you to like kind of manage your options all yourself. Kind of seems like they're kind of limiting the amount that we can do, but that's fashion, I guess. Next up, a real big one. Renown is getting changed, and there's a lot of people that are not looking forward to doing Renown in Vessel Hatred. And yes, it does appear that Vessel Hatred will have Renown for the new Nahantu region. However, you will not have to do as much Renown as you did before. So previously, you would have to complete all of the Paragon, or not all of the Paragon, all of the Renown to earn the Paragon points. And instead, now you only have to go and do the 4th tile instead, with the final tile giving you those max obols. So if you're not really worried about max obols, not something you're interested in, you're not going to need to go and do all of the dungeons, all of the side quests, all of the strongholds and stuff, and like probably click all the new Lilith statues that are out there. You're just going to do a whole lot less, which I think is a very good change as well. Very excited about this. I'm kind of surprised they didn't talk about this and didn't talk about this as a change for new players, because it's definitely something that is a little bit of a barrier of power for players to have to go and do all of the Renown. And now that power is a little bit earlier on, which I think is very, very good. Next up, crafting in vendors has changed a little bit. Obol prices have changed kind of significantly for some of these. So things like 2-handed weapons, both melee and ranged, have gone from 75 up to 100, which does make sense, seeing how one-handed weapons were 50 obols. but these are going to be absolutely terrible for, trying to grind any sort of aspect, which, I don't know if you would normally buy a two-hander anyways. Now, the thing I'm kind of sad about is that Focus Totem and Shield went from 40 obols up to 50. This was kind of the way to go and grind weapon aspects or the offensive aspects. And so now that's kind of gone. So now you can kind of do any one-handed weapon will kind of do. Caps or hats are going from 40 to 50, whereas chest armors and boots are both going down to 25. And so this is probably a great way here to get utility and mobility aspects. Is going to be gambling your boots, and a good way to get yourself defensive aspects is going to be gambling the chest armor. Although pants are also, can be cheap as well. Gloves are 50, matching up everything else. And then rings are going down a little bit. They're going down to 50. So it'll be a little bit easier to get those resource aspects, which are always notoriously a pain in the butt to get. Lastly, the amulet is going from 60 up to 100. And amulets are just one of the worst things in terms of itemizations in the game right now. So difficult to get a good one. And I kind of wish that this didn't go up. They just kept it at 50 or something, because this is definitely like one of the end game items. Whispering keys, I kind of still feel like are not all that great. There's these little chests that you can find. You pop them open. The only time I ever really use these is when they give them to you as part of the season journey progression anyways, and you just pick them up naturally. It now also, by the way, for obols, it seems much more achievable to get uniques from gambling. I did a lot of gambling in the PTR. I can definitely confirm this. However, I did not get a single ancestral unique while gambling. So, keep that in mind. Although, actually, I think I did get one. So maybe is possible, but is very, very, very rare. I think I just got one now that I'm thinking about it again. Now, there are you can basically 3 to 1 gem fragments now. So if there's a type of gem fragment that you don't really use, it likely can turn into something you can. And so typically people are using whatever their main stat is, and maybe diamond or skull. And so you can convert them around a little bit. It's not necessarily by your choice. You're just going to have to follow a recipe. So some of these are going to maybe be bad for you. However, there's going to be more opportunity to get gem fragments kind of easily. You can just do this right at the Alchemist. Obdicite is also going to be the only masterworking material that has going to survive basically the transition here. Now, personally, I like Neath Iron a little bit more in terms of name and appearance, and Ingolith is probably second place. So maybe they'll change it over here to Neath Iron. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like Obdicite? Is Ingolith better? Neath Iron? Which one do you like? And so you're no longer going to have to convert Neath Iron down into Obdicite for masterworking. It's not going to be as confusing. However, they also did change some of the costs. So you're going to be getting more legendary material costs pretty early on. And then later on, there's a massive, massive gold increase here. And I actually went and I got this onto my document as well. If I go to PTR masterworking costs, the total amount of gold is going to be 14.9 million gold, with most of that gold cost coming at the very, very end. So if we have this here, the going up to rank 8 here only has 8% of the gold cost. So 92% of the gold cost comes from ranks 9 through 12, which I think is absolutely crazy. Also, they did not change the total amount of Obdicite you would need if you kind of convert it down. And it's going to cost you a total of 5,830, and 5,000 of that comes from 9 to 12. So definitely keep that in mind if you're first masterworking your stuff, is that it's very, very expensive to go from 9 to 12, and you might not want to do that for gear that is maybe so-so. Next up, mythic uniques can now also be crafted at the blacksmith instead of the alchemist, and these should be able to craft all of the ones that are available for your class. There was 2 new panther mounts in the stable master that you could just purchase, just for gold. And these are great. Absolutely love these. I think that this Black Nahantu Panther is better than the pre-purchase mount. And if you buy the game, you're just going to have access to that right away. It looks really good. I think the white one here does look pretty cool as well. So both of these are just good options to roll around on. I'm sure we'll see a whole bunch of different like Panther armors and stuff like that rolling out with the expansion. But, you know, actually just, you know, included in the cost cosmetic, which is pretty cool. Now for quests and whispers, there's been some updates for these as well. Now the priority quests are now purple, and the feature unlock quests have a little white icon. So like, for example, if you're a barbarian and you want to go unlock your barbarian expertise, now it's going to have a little white cross in the center of the purple icon, and it tells you what you're going to unlock. So if you're not familiar with the game, or not familiar with the class, or not familiar with the new system, it's going to tell you what to expect from doing a quest, so you can know whether or not you want to skip it or not. Handing in whispers at a tree now have a chance for a greater cache of gem fragments, and also a greater cache of gold. So there's more good rewards from doing whispers, which I think is nice. Next up, tormented bosses have kind of changed around quite a bit. So previously you could do like a normal boss or tormented boss in World Tier 4, but in 2.0, pretty much everything is going to be scaling to whatever the difficulty is that you're doing. And starting in Torment 1, you'll be able to start summoning kind of the boss ladder bosses, the tormented bosses. And so depending on what difficulty you're playing the game on, it is going to be, you know, scale the difficulty of the boss accordingly. But the cost to summon the boss will not go up as the difficulties go up. And the changes, you know, the costs have changed a little bit, but like things like Stygian stones don't exist anymore, which I love. I absolutely love this. I hated the fact that you would go and you would need to farm a Stygian stone. Otherwise, you do a lower tier boss for other stuff. And it just kind of felt bad. They wouldn't always drop, you know, max item power gear anyways. It just felt pretty terrible. And now in order to summon the end bosses, Andariel and Duriel, they cost the same amount, just like 2 of their individual shards, which is pretty nice. Beast of Ice is going to take 12 Distilled Fear. Grigwar takes 12 Living Steel. Lord Zir does 12 blood, and then Varshan only needs 4 Malignant Hearts. There's no other body parts now for Varshan. Hopefully they'll have that bug fixed where the other ones are dropping, you have to convert them, but we'll see. Now, what do you get from the bosses at different difficulties? Because obviously you want to kill these as hard difficulties as you possibly can. And you can see here at Torment 1, you're getting 1 to 2 uniques, 1 to 2 summoning materials, and 0 to 1 runes, some gem fragments, crafting materials, and gold. Whereas this scales up all the way to 5 uniques and up to 3 summoning materials in Torment 4, up to 3 runes, 2,000 gem fragments. So generally killing the bosses on Torment 4 is going to be a better thing to do. However, if you can't do that, it's still not really all that bad to do it on Torment 3 or Torment 2. However, I'm sure that there'll be a lot of people offering carry services and all sorts of stuff for Torment 4 bosses pretty early on into the season. And yeah, I have a feeling I'll be carrying a lot of people's Torment 4 bosses for them. Speaking of Torment bosses, they also can now come up as whispers. This is kind of just free real estate, I guess. Free whispers if you're going to be doing these bosses anyways, especially because they're 5 grim favors out of 10, which is very, very nice. Helltide had a little bit of a change, so the tortured gift of living steel doesn't exist anymore. However, you do get a large amount of living steel from the tortured gifts of mystery. I think I got like 12 out of one of these boxes, which is enough to go, you know, farm a Grigwar, which is pretty nice. I think it was like Torment 1 or something. And so this is a pretty decent update, I think. Kind of smooshing the 2 boxes together to kind of like make it so you don't necessarily feel like you have to farm Helltide as long. I know there's a lot of people that don't like Helltide still, even with all the improvements. And it's just another improvement to the thing. Training grounds. If you don't know, there's a training grounds dummy in the town of Kyovashad. I believe there's one also in the new town that'll be coming. And it has a whole bunch of features now, including the ability to attack you back. And they can do like physical, cold, fire, lightning, poison, shadow. Just attack an AoE around them to kind of give you an idea of your defenses. And no, this can't kill you, I don't think. I did try like getting my health down to 0 to see what would happen, and just like left me on 1 HP. Although I'm sure there'll be a hilarious clip of some hardcore streamer finding the interaction that causes you to be able to die with this. They also added a jeweler and a healing well to the training grounds so you can heal up. Red dust is no longer displayed next to the opals in the character panel below the inventory, and it's only in the stats and materials. And this kind of gives me the indicator that they don't really care about the PvP stuff that's going on in D4 at all. I don't really know a lot of people that, you know, go and farm red dust. I personally like have a whole bunch on my character, but I don't even use it to gamble. And so hopefully they'll maybe eventually do something with PvP, but right now it's kind of in a rough spot. This next one is a little bit controversial for me because I could have sworn that resource orb turning gold was something that had been in the game for a while, but maybe I'm just going crazy in some Mandela effect. And this is now, whenever you click a channeling shrine, you're going to get a golden resource orb. The buff limit is going to be increased from 8 to 16. Rune words and debuffs now take up buff slots. And so you can see like these rune word things here. And these things fill up. So these are automatically just going to take 2 spots as long as you have 2 rune words active. Buffs now show the duration on a mouse over. Silent chests now show up in the mini map when you're in close proximity. These are the things that you buy like the little key for, and they pop out some loot. I did get some decent amount of loot from these in the PTR, so maybe these are still going to be a little bit weak though compared to your other options for opals. They're adding more stash tab icons, but they weren't in the game yet when you know, we are in the PTR. It's going to be about 12 new ones. And something that's pretty neat is the new marker feature for the Dark Citadel has added under the action wheel customization, but this can only be used in the Dark Citadel. So it allows you to add a whole bunch of markers probably on the ground, I would guess here. I'm not really sure how I feel about this per se. This feels very World of Warcrafty, a little bit less Lost Ark-y. Lost Ark has a whole bunch of different pings that you can like ping the ground to like warn people, tell people to group up, tell people to go certain places, and just having like circle, square, star, diamond, and triangle marker. I would kind of wish that these would be a little bit more like, I don't know, like have a little bit more natural meaning to them, because right now they don't really do anything for me. Like they don't tell me to group up here. They don't tell me that there's danger anywhere. And I probably won't necessarily use them, but you know, it's kind of neat to see them. And that's pretty much it for all the undocumented changes in the PTR. Really looking forward to getting some more information about what's coming in 2.0, and just be very, very excited for, you know, playing Spiritborn, playing through the new campaign, checking out all the crazy new builds. I'm cooking up a whole bunch of Spiritborn stuff, so keep an eye out for that, and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you much for hanging out, and come by the stream. Later.